Namaskar and welcome back to New Delhi, the vibrant and historical capital of India. The prolonged monsoon season is over and we are now in that phase of the year which is widely regarded as the best for exploring the richness of Delhi. This is also the time when a lot of heritage walks are organized across Delhi. And today, I intend to take you to one of them, which is led by Chandrasekhar Tampi, a remarkable storyteller who brings alive historical personalities and characters through his engaging style, liberal use of facts, and interesting anecdotes. So if you are ready, let us travel back in time by almost 700 years to see glimpses of Delhi in the 14th century. Today's destination is the fascinating Tughlaqabad Fort, often referred to as the Cursed Fort of Delhi, which is situated in the southern parts of Delhi along the Mehrauli-Badarpur road. This fort stands across the southern parts of the Delhi Ridge, which is the northern extension of the Aravalli Range, the oldest mountain range in India. The Tughlaqabad Fort is regarded as one of the 7 surviving cities of medieval Delhi. In order of chronology, it is the 3rd city after the Lal Kot, built by the Tomars in the 11th century, and the Siri, built by Alauddin Khilji in the early 14th century. It is worth underlining that this fort belongs to the pre-gunpowder era in the Indian context. The Tughlaqabad Fort was built by Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq, the founder of Tughlaq dynasty, who stayed in power for only 5 years, from 1320 to 1325. It is quite amazing that this massive fort was constructed in just 4 years, from 1320 to 1324. With a perimeter of about 6 kilometers, the Tughlaqabad Fort covers an area of 120 acres. This fort was constructed to serve a dual purpose. One, to resist the persistent threat of Mongol attacks, and second, to serve as the capital of the newly established Tughlaq dynasty. As you can observe, the stone fort has slanting walls built of random rubble masonry which rise to a height of nearly 30 meters. The walls have numerous double-storied bastions, gigantic towers, and slits from where enemies could be attacked. It is believed that the Tughlaqabad Fort originally had 52 gates, although only 13 remain standing today. The numerous buildings and structures inside the Tughlaqabad Fort are in ruins today. The fort can be roughly divided into 3 parts. The sprawling main city area in the east housed residents and commercial settlements in grid-planned neighborhoods situated between the gates. The adjacent palace area towards southwest likely held the royal residences. The citadel stood in the heart of this fort, which is crowned by the Bijay Mandal, the highest point of this fort. The building in the background is the mausoleum of Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq, the builder of this fort. We'll visit it after we leave this fort. In the meantime, take a look at this panoramic view of this large fort as well as the city of Delhi. I could also get a glimpse of the famous Lotus Temple situated in the Kalkaji area of Delhi. This fortified city had a well-planned water supply system with numerous water tanks, wells, and reservoirs. Let me show you the largest of them. It is a rectangular rain-fed tank with stairs leading down. The monsoon rain was harvested through a well-planned network to collect and conserve water for ensuring a constant supply of water throughout the year. Step wells or bowlis were constructed to maximize the water storage for usage during dry spells, which was necessary for the survival of inhabitants in this fort. However, due to neglect over the centuries, what remains of them today is just a reminder of a glorious past. Now let us come to the most fascinating aspect of this fort, the story why it is called the Cursed Fort. According to the legend, Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq wanted to complete this fort at the earliest. He had therefore ordered every laborer in his realm to devote their time exclusively on the construction of this fort. Around the same time, Khwaja Nizamuddin Aulia, the well-known Sufi saint of Delhi, was building a stepwell or bauli at his residence called Khanka in the present-day Nizamuddin area. With all the laborers busy constructing the fort, Nizamuddin Aulia could not find laborers to build his stepwell. It is said that the laborers would work on the fort during the day and spend the night building the stepwell. When Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq came to know about it, he was so angry that he banned the supply of oil to the site of the stepwell. With no oil to light the lamps, construction of Nizamuddin Aulia's stepwell could not proceed at night. This step of the ruler made the Sufi saint equally angry. He used his mystical powers to turn the water of his well into oil, but he also cursed the city of Tughlaqabad by saying, Ya rahe ujjar, ya base gujjar, which means the fort will either remain deserted or it will be occupied by herdsmen. And this has exactly been the fate of this fort ever since it was constructed over 700 years ago. This fort was abandoned within 15 years of its construction and has remained uninhabited ever since. While some say that this was due to shortage of water in this area, but the story which has endured and caught the imagination of people is the one I just narrated to you. The simple building in front is the 700-year-old mosque of this fort. Let us go inside this mosque. This is the Qibla wall, indicating the direction of Mecca. This underground passage is a fascinating part of this large fort. It is believed that it functioned as the Meena Bazaar, the shopping complex of this fort. This market street is relatively well preserved. As you can see, this underground passage has openings at regular intervals for easy access and natural light. The story of Tughlaqabad Fort would be incomplete without a visit to the mausoleum of Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq, the builder of this fort. It is a well-preserved tomb made of red sandstone with a white marble dome. The tomb is shaped like a miniature fortress with circular bastions. Its construction was started during Ghiyasuddin's own lifetime, but it was completed probably by his son and successor Muhammad bin Tughlaq in the year 1328. The fortified tomb was an integral part of Tughlaqabad Fort complex. It is located inside the irregular pentangular fortification whose objective was to prevent the entry of attackers. This fortification has 5 bastions at each one of its 5 corners. The entrance to this fortification is through a decorative gateway made of red sandstone flanked by pilasters and a touch of marble. Simple but elegant, this tomb is situated in the middle of a well-maintained green courtyard with arched openings, battered walls crowned by a huge dome made entirely of white marble. This square mausoleum houses 3 graves. The one in the center of this chamber is that of Sultan Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq himself. The other 2 graves are of his wife and his son Muhammad bin Tughlaq. This fort and tomb are maintained by the Archaeological Survey of India. Walking around this sprawling fort transports you to another era in Delhi. A large part of this fort complex is covered by trees, shrubs, and dense thorny vegetation. True to the curse of Sheikh Nizamuddin Aulia, you can still see the cattle grazing here. Although this fort complex is in an advanced state of ruin, the surviving buildings and remnants of palaces and residences do remind us of an era of prosperity. I will soon return with another interesting dimension of life in Delhi. Until then, take care. Namaskar.
नजरिया